Leverkusen eine Viertelstunde plus 6 Kilometer stockend. Dann haben wir die
I am going to be advised by, well, I have to say, one of the most influential newcomers.
Oh no, never gonna make it in this way.
And I say newcomers in terms of 2 or 3 years, and that's Jelle of Growing Bonsai.
I showed you just before as one of these scarless trunks.
I like jelly! Jelly!
So if you want to see what he does with this and with the white pine, and what other interesting questions I may put to him. This isn't bonsai. Tell me why this is bonsai.
Well, what I like about it is that if you look at the crown,
Then you need to keep watching. Get a coffee, tea, orange juice, whatever it is that perks your fancy for breakfast.
That might be something. I've just missed it.
Hey, strap in. I think it's going to be fun.
Right then, fellas. Hope you're doing some weeding while you're here.
Should we roll the credits then?
nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Well, it's Xavier, and you've all been waiting for this momentous moment. I had someone knocking at my side gate, and you all know I said, don't need to knock, it's open. In fact, the keys are in the letterbox, along with the open car. But seriously, guess who's looking at me right now? It's Jelle, Growing Bonsai.
Finally here.
And can we say this now? You know that, a bit like my mispronunciation of species, Jelle has been Yelle, yellow, Yelle, jelly, all sorts of things. He's a great guy. He's never ever said anything in front of me to say I mispronounce your name. So for the sake of everyone, say your first name for us, please.
And I'll write your name.
JJ. Oh no. No. Jelle.
Jelle, as in old Jelle, or faithful Jelle. Is that American? It's an American thing. Old Jelle was a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Or you could go Arabian. Jelle.
Jelle. Okay, we've got that one. And I'll say now, we actually do generally get on.
It's
Good
just
Kenny
my
Everett.
bad sense of humor. Can't help myself.
No sense of humour. Absolutely none. Nil. I'm surprised.
Well, no, I'm not going to go there. Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, first of all, I cannot believe you came all the way over here because of that that constructive advice you gave about this Japanese white pine. Actually, before we see what magic Jelle's going to do with the white pine, I had to say a massive big shout out to Jason Hanrahan of the Bonsai Garden, because once again, he sent me something. I mean, he knows how desperately I need more trees. So, wow, I had forgotten entirely. Many of you will remember on Jason's channel, he did some air layers of his shishigi lion's head maple. Absolutely incredible. Well, thanks very much, Jason. Absolutely wonderful. Definitely going to feature in my retreat, and well, I look forward to you visiting it very soon. So, what do you think of having your breakfast here in the Bonsai Retreat?
Well, what can I say? It's gonna fill me up. I think it might be a little bit too much, in fact. It's actually full-on British, except for the blood sausage. That's not really right.
You need blood sausage, but I'll accept that. You need a good breakfast. We'll go for 2 helpings, because I've got a lot of trees for you to work on.
Oh, I gotta work after this?
Of course you are. And that's me, just so you know, I'm having a small breakfast. And of course, Jelle's now on his full 3rd plate. I would be ashamed I wouldn't show my face as well, honestly. Whoa. I'll tell you what, I am so glad I had that walk. How do you feel about the little stroll then?
I thought you were going to put me to work, but you're going to feed me to death.
Well, it's better than yesterday where, what did you get?
A cup of coffee for breakfast.
You had crumpets and peanut butter, didn't you?
For dinner.
That was close to lunch, actually it was near 2 or 3 o'clock. But anyway, look, we've come back now, and I know bonsai for breakfast, the first thing we're going to deal with was the apex on this Japanese white pine. And I tell you, it's all Jelle's fault anyway, because he was the one who did that silly diagram a few months ago. So,
I don't want to crack onto these trees. Before we do, I brought you a little thing.
Oh, you're joking?
You always complain that you don't have enough plants, so I thought, let's get you something. Do you know what's in this box?
Is that a little action man?
It's little plants. And we're going to do a little Q&A. Do you know your trees?
This should be fun.
Put down in the comments now just how many you think, whatever, I'm going to get right.
Zero.
You already know from my first season how bad I was at identification. Are you safe to use those scissors on well, I suppose I count as supervision, don't I? In fact, there's the ambulance coming now, you can hear it in the background. No. I told you I'm cack-handed, so it means I'm clumsy.
You've been eating slippery foods.
I'm absolutely stuffed, my stomach is so full.
Don't tell me I need to help you open up a box. Come on, man.
Whoa, I recognise there's a maple in there. Look, to make this easier so that you can shout out quicker, I'm going to zoom in a little closer.
What is this?
Am I allowed to do it by a process of elimination? Can I, at the moment, I'm allowed to phone a friend, but it looks... See, I would look at that and go, gee, it looks a little azalea-y.
Ding, 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 ding. It's azalea, Satsuki azalea of the colour variety Asuka.
What colour are the... Can't believe I got one right.
White, pink striped and dark red. I have a video on this one actually.
I know you do.
It's one of them. I think this is one you wanted from me. You asked me once, if you're successful, can I have a cutting?
Would that, by any chance, be an Arakawa?
Exactly, that's an Arakawa, Japanese maple, rough barked.
But it's not, it's very smooth.
It will take another 5 years. Then it will get a rough bark. Initially they're smooth.
After what I've eaten today, I don't feel like I've got another 5 years in me.
Now, do you remember which video I made on red fruited bonsai?
Oh, yes. Because I watched it quite...
I know you watch my videos.
It's going to be a red fruited...
Persimmon.
Oh, do you know the Koreans love persimmon?
It's persimmon, exactly. How did you know?
Because I recognise the Korean luster on the leaves.
Oh, come on, we're in Britain. It's starting to rain again.
It's going to rain again. We've got work all day today. I'm 2 out of 3 at the moment.
This one you must know. You've mentioned it that you would be interested in having one as well. Nice pink flowers.
Oh, yes, the lilac thing that you did.
That was it, lilacs.
And you talked about how great they were.
This is your least favourite tree species.
Is that... Right, now we've got a choice. We've got potentially a Zelkova or a Chinese elm, or perhaps even a corkbark Chinese elm. How can I tell? Well, you've got to have done this for a few years, and I can tell by the graduations in this small...
You talk too much. Yeah, I'm not going to help you, because that's just crap.
I was going to say, is it a rain tree? But well, I don't recognise the...
It's a crepe myrtle.
I should recognise, because when we were driving back from Heathrow a couple of days ago, you wouldn't think it was that long ago. He actually kept telling me crepe myrtle. Just goes to show, when you get older, you forget things.
Guys, never go to the UK. It always rains, and if it doesn't, it pours.
Right.
Oh.
Thanks ever so much. We're going to pop these up, but we're going to get the cameras out of the rain, definitely.
And then we'll go back with our breakfast stocks.
Or we could actually do that Japanese white pine.
I don't wanna.
Stop moaning. So I think in your diagram, you talked about it being really too top heavy here, trying to bring some branches over here, bring them in, or it was extending out too far, and you just said it was too much and it needed to come down and be more compact.
You've not implemented the suggestions.
No. I didn't actually.
I'm gonna get into view for a second. I must say, it looks really, really, really good now. You have a bit of an insect problem here. Is that just for the fun of it, or is it actually helping you prune?
Well, fun enough, if you ask me what have I done differently with this tree, I've actually found a particular species, and this is called the metal-legged rusting grasshopper. Absolutely brilliant at getting rid of all white pine-based diseases. And hey, well, what do you think? Is it looking healthy?
I think it's looking healthy, and actually I was wondering whether you've changed something on the substrate, the watering, or the fertilizer since last year.
The biggest thing, I know you know that I did a big repot in the sort of late summertime, set under the guise of something that one of our local practitioners, Harry Harrington, does a lot, and so I changed it and I put it into a pumice-based soil for a start, and then recognised that probably I've kept it underwater too long. So I've actually moved it outside of my normal hose pipe area, and the soil dries out. So it's probably every 2 or 3 days maybe, and then I'll give it a good soaking.
Well, do you know why I'm asking?
No.
Because if I look at this tree, right, if you really look carefully at the tree, what you see is that there's different lengths of needles in there. And I've spotted a whole bunch of much shorter needles last year than this year. This year the needles are a lot longer than the ones from last year.
Oh, I see,
They're
yes.
almost twice as long in some cases. And that typically means more fertilizer or a better watering regime. So you get longer needles.
And that's good?
Well, you want shorter needles if you've developed it, but if you're developing it and you want to establish the branches and the whole tree is completely wired out, so I think you want more growth.
Yeah.
Then it's a good thing. In the later stage you want to go back to less fertilizer, because here the needles are really, really long compared to what you had.
We can go in and have a look at that, but I think Jelle's identified something really I didn't take seriously. And you know, we all have different things with watering, different requirements. We can't all have rain barrels, but I must say I've been pretty sort of lump everything in together, and I'm in the UK, it rains a lot anyway. And my white pines were getting the same watering regime as everything else. So in other words, they were getting soaked every single day whether they needed it or not. Now a lot of you out there will say, no, you should know better. Well, hey, there's lots of things going on in life, and that was one of the things I changed, and hey, wow.
And it's healthy. There's lots of little back buds on the inside. I don't think you can see it from there, but here this tree has lots of buds also on the inside of the tree, which will allow later cut back. And to be honest, I know we've discussed this tree. I thought that you'd implemented some of the suggestions, but now, as it has grown a little bit more, it starts to look really good. And in fact, that may be something. And you know, I make videos on YouTube on bonsai. Xavier makes videos on YouTube on bonsai. But seeing a tree in person in 3D, being able to spin it around and look at it from different angles, the tree can work completely different from the 2D media, which is a video. So be careful just looking at advice based on 2D images. Always see whether you can get a person to look in person in 3D, because you get a much better impression of how the tree really works.
I think this is a classic example. Even I didn't consider it. I was ready to actually do exactly what it was that you said. I was going to just lop the top off because I trusted someone who's done it a lot longer and has a lot more technical knowledge, which is fair enough. But what's even better is he looked at it and went, actually, seeing it in person, it doesn't need any work. You've done a good job on it.
I saw a question on your channel though. Who is longer in bonsai? Who has been doing bonsai longer? Do you know? I'm going to give you 5 seconds to pop an answer down below, and then we are going to explore who has actually been doing bonsai the longest and has most experience.
We're not just here to enjoy the sun.
Oh, sorry.
You know. Oh, be careful, behind me you've got my Himalayan cedar. That was about to go backwards.
Shall I put it on the ground then? I'm very sorry. Do you know there's a tree behind you as well? You have so many trees.
You nearly made me know. So, how long have you been actively doing bonsai?
I think I started somewhere in 1986 with bonsai. So I was a little kid. For my birthday, my parents got me a little book on how to make bonsai. And actively I started looking for little trees everywhere, and I pulled some out and I put them in little pots. Put them nice on the garden table, watered them. A week later we went on summer holidays, as you do with the family, and I came back. They were all dead. Honestly, that was the end of bonsai for me for a very, very long time. And then I would say about 14 years ago, 2009, 2010, I had settled in. We had a house with a garden, and I was looking for something to do in the garden, and I remembered a little bit of it. So fair enough, let's say 14 years.
Do you know, in 1985-86, I just finished my schooling in Australia, and I was swanning it around Newquay, around the surf beach, Fistral Beach, and guess what I wasn't thinking about?
Playing shuffleboard and trimming your bonsai tree.
I was working in a hotel washing dishes. Fantastic, but
I prefer bonsai.
For those of you, you know my channel. I started in 2001. Get ready, can I hear it? Yeah, 20 large saplings. Many of them you've seen today. So what's that? We're in 2024, so about 23 years. But I didn't tell you this. You thought I had this one. A bit like when we had that cuttings competition, which I won as well.
Yeah,
There's a video all about that.
Yeah, sure.
We won't go back.
Watch the video and you know who won, really.
But
you cheated.
I had a break, actually, of about 8 years. And funny enough, that Japanese white pine you've just seen thrived during that 8 years where I didn't touch it. Which is an important thing to consider. You don't actually need to worry about doing nothing with your trees. if they're healthy, they'll stay healthy. So I've had an 8 years out of that, so that takes me down to probably 16 years where I've actually been.
Still have. Congratulations.
Should we leave it there, or should we go for the one that I know we're going to lose out on? Because someone asked who's taller, and I was surprised. I've always said people visit the garden and say, "Wow, Zav, you're exactly like you are on the camera." And I was like, "Well, not about that big." I must be honest. I saw Yelle coming through the airport. I was surprised he came through so quickly. I just assumed he'd be stopped. You know, he's a dodgy-looking character.
Made it to the UK. Let's see. I can still leave. You want a one-on-one?
Yeah, man. He throws that way.
You talk too much.
So, get ready to write down in the comments. You can see us sitting down. In the count of 3, we're going to stand up and see. Make sure you write now who's the tallest. 3, 2, 1.
I can't go any taller.
Keep. No, we're just pushing it. And by a head, I think we need to reset the camera. So you've still got time to put your comment down. And with the aid of Xavier motion, which is all the wiggly stuff, we're going to quickly find out that I'm probably on tippy toes and with a bit of perspective, shorter.
Sorry.
You win that one.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go back and have a look at another tree before we answer a few more questions. I'm at Greenwood's nursery, and the sun has suddenly started to shine out, which is very rare in England. And I'm here with Yelle as part of our bonsai for breakfast, and apparently he's going to teach me a thing or two about where I'm going wrong with juniper as well. But there's some incredible trees here. It's been a good 18 months since I've visited, and actually I got some great advice from Corin. I feel very, very lucky that he has, because he spoke to me about the oak. Should I did a big repotting video about this, and I put it into a relatively shallow pot. It was, when I got it from you, it was in quite a deep drum.
Right.
Have I actually made a mistake in doing that so quickly?
I won't say that's ever so shallow.
Okay.
That's not a ludicrously shallow pot. That's of adequate depth.
So Yelle, I'm so glad you're here with me for breakfast, and hopefully you're enjoying the feast of delectables that we've got here at Greenwood's Bonsai. But if you're turning up here for the first time and have got absolutely no idea, but you're desperate because you've watched either one of your videos or even one of my videos,
Nobody's going to want to watch that.
what would you say to someone who's looking at sort of, say, substandard material or learner material? What do they really need to look at? What's your tip for breakfast?
Well, a few things. Bonsai is not about rescuing plants. So if you're struggling to keep your own plants healthy, don't go to the section where they're discounting the trees, because they don't look all that great. But if you do know your trees, you do know how to keep them happy, that is typically where I go. I go and look at trees like the ones here, for instance. These are discounted because they're not very happy. They may have some sun damage, some heat damage. And if you look at something like this may be discounted in price because it doesn't have a lot of foliage, and the foliage that's there is coarse. But look at that trunk line. A trunk like this is what you're actually paying for. This is what takes time. Developing the foliage mass, that's easy. That is a good growing season and you got foliage again. So also this one here, this field maple, looks completely bare. But I checked, look, there's a little growth here on these branches. If there would have been growth here, well, there's actually a little bit of growth there and there and there. This tree, if you take it home, next year it will start regrowing, and you've got a very nice, interesting trunk with all dead wood. That's not for everybody, but if you like it. It has movement, it has refined branches. This is actually a really, really interesting tree. So if you get this at a 50% discount now, hey, you wait a year and you've got a good tree. Under the assumption that you know how to take care of your trees and can get this back to health. But in general, not a rescue mission if you don't know how to take care of trees.
That has got to be one of the best tips I've heard. And even though I haven't fed you any breakfast yet, it is important, because I'm the first person who's come to what we consider as the bargain or the discount display in the hope I'll get an instant bonsai tree that I can turn into a masterpiece. That's really, really good to know. Thank you very much for that.
Xavier.
Oh.
Do you have an elm already?
Do I have an elm?
Look at this trunk. The age on that bark. You turn this back drastically to the trunk and the main branches, stubs of 4 inches, 10 centimeters, and you've got a really, really great tree to start off with.
So if I wanted to get this, all I'd have to do is roll up at Greenwood Nursery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not that he's paying for saying that, but there's a lot of good stuff here. There really is. And he's a good bloke too.
It's too bad this is in the UK and I can't take it with me.
I think what's even more impressive is it's not raining.
I showed you just before as one of these scarless trunks. You look at it, it's not completely scarless. You can see a few branches that have been removed. But more importantly, what you see here, this bark has all completely cracked open.
China or wherever it's come from. And I picked up about 20 Chinese elms. And this was one of them, and it was in that typical, you know when you go to the supermarket and this is where I'm going to, just want to get better on that. I want to be able to use the bottom as well. So I'll swap between.
Alright, so this is basically just a big nursery pot. But you know why I brought this up, right? This big scarf doesn't fit your trees. It fits my trees. To be honest, I am the sort of person who likes big trunks, so my trees are often grown out with very long branches. Tomorrow we're going to go and visit Heron's Bonsai. Today we're going to visit Heron. No, tomorrow we're visiting Heron's Bonsai.
And yesterday it was Greenwood's.
Yeah. But before we sign off, I want to show you something what happened. So you asked me to look around in your garden and pull out a tree to say something about. And to be honest, yeah, you watch his channel and you see that he quite often says that he doesn't know all that much.
I'm told I can be a bit dim.
And if you watch his channel, you know that he all the time goes on that he doesn't really know what he's doing. And there's all these experts out there, and then he falsely accuses me of being the one that can tell him all these things. I was worried that I'd see a garden full of this. Dead stumps, oaks, things that are not growing in yellow, and basically not all that interest. Boy, was I mistaken. First of all, it's not 10 or 20 trees. This guy, how many trees do you have? 600, 700?
750, 800.
Exactly, so there is a massive amount of trees. Some of them are very far in development, some are less. Even though he's taken an 8-year break, it's been 20 years since he started. So some of these trees he's been working on for 20 years. And you see some very, very nice trees, like this. I think it's a Chinese elm, which has been grown pretty much without any big chops. It's nice and elegant. You can change things, of course, but what I really like is if you really look at the branches, you see they're formed by pretty much clip and grow. There may have been a bit of adjustment with wire, but just over time this has been allowed to extend, prune back into shape, extend, and it gives a really, really nice mature image. There's just one thing.
Just one?
You've been a very good host, Xavier. We've had a massive breakfast, but it is a little bit pill. So what I've done, I actually on my way in brought you a little gift. Feed those trees, man.
Fish, blood and bone is, well, thank you.
Your trees are vegetarian, but I think they'll make an exception this time because they're a little bit hungry.
But it's not bonsai feed.
No.
And the reason why I don't fertilise, and I joke about it, but it's actually really expensive. So, I mean, you do grow a lot of bonsai. Why would I just do...
I have this little video on bonsai fertilizer on my channel, and basically if you go and you look at a bonsai store, you can buy very, very good fertilizer from Japan. But you don't need to in most cases. In most cases, hobbyists like you and I, we just grow trees.
Yeah.
And they need fertilizer, but they are typically not the most refined, slow-growing, big-trunked, exhibition-worthy trees. They're just trees that we enjoy. They need to just get fertilizer. And what you do, you take one of those parcels and you're like, well, what's in there? Basically, you look at the package and it says it has nitrogen 3%, phosphorus 9%. That's really high in phosphorus, which at this time of the year is good because it really aids the tree in developing stronger branches for winter, and it doesn't push the tree all that much for growing. And there is potassium, and here somewhere in the description I found full of trace elements. This is, well, organics based. It's not a salt, so you can just add it to your plants and they'll be fertilized. There's nothing special about plant fertilizer.
Do you know what? After 22 years, that helps. I've been buying BioGold because it's bonsai fertilizer, it's specialist. I thought it was the right thing to do, and I've been putting the pellets all over. I couldn't afford to do it, it took too long, so I didn't. And the one, I think the one comment...
Too long. BioGold, that is really that. It's biological gold.
Yeah, fair enough. I really appreciate that, and Yelle bought it for me yesterday when we were having a wander around one of our great garden centres, where I happened to actually pick up the next project tree, which may or may not be involved with this. But before we answer the next question, shall we have a look and see what Yelle managed to spot that thought might be a good buy? Before we talk about this, I'm going to say now a big thank you to everyone who waxed some questions in my open invite to my house, where I very cleverly hid the address so that no one could come in and steal things. And thanks also for those who quite rightly pointed out that perhaps I'm a little bit too open and naive and friendly. But anyway, regardless of that.
And you know what? I tried. The front door lock does work. I was standing there in the pouring rain and he didn't open up. Come on.
The buzzer doesn't work either, and I did actually forget to open the gate as well, so if anyone was there, I'm sorry. We'll talk about this in a minute, but actually there were some good questions answered. In fact, yeah, Yelle has been on there answering the questions, so many of you have probably got answers.
So actually, if you go to Xavier's channel and you pop a comment on the video, I'll answer. If you do it on my own channel, I might not get around it because I'm just too busy.
In fact, that's probably a good question. It's something I worry about. At the moment, I'm able to answer everyone's comments. It takes me about an hour, but I don't work. I do bonsai, so I can afford to have that time. How are you finding it with, 40k subscribers now? You must get a lot of comments.
Yeah, and some of the comments include, why don't you answer my comments?
Now that is funny.
And to be honest, that is a thing. I'm behind about 3 months on answering comments. Reality of life, right? I think most of us have that reality. If you're not a full-time bonsai professional living off the trees, you get up in the morning, 6:30, 7 o'clock, you get out of bed, you drink a cup of coffee or tea or whatever you prefer in the morning, get in your car, bike, bus, train, go do your job. You come home and it might be 7 o'clock in the evening. Then you want to water your trees, you maybe want to prune them back, and in my case I edit videos in the evening. I like to spend time with my wife every once in a while. I might have to cook at a point. And then it is 11:30 and I look at a comment. And sometimes there's these comments and you're like, I don't really want to respond to these comments. I don't know if you get those comments, but you get those comments that are quite negative. They are quite confrontational. And you're like, I am providing information on my channel because I like bonsai and I want to make it easy for other people to get onto bonsai as well. And then I don't really like being told off. So sometimes I have a very good evening, I open my comments and there's lots of pleasant comments and I'll interact. And sometimes there's 2 or 3 of these nasty comments and I just lose the energy and I close it down again. And as a result, I now open up my comment section in YouTube and I see I am behind on maybe 5,000 comments. I don't know how I'm going to catch up.
But you know, when you say it like that, and again, it's a big thing, hobbyists. So this is a hobby. Yes, we put ourselves out there, and yes, we're more than happy to interact, because if you weren't watching it, there'd be no point us doing this. So yes, you do have a definite active part within my community, within Yelle's community, and we really appreciate that, certainly. But how do you feel if you've had a really hard day and you've had to deal with emails at work, 450 emails you're going through, you've all been there. And for the best will in the world, you come home from after work and then perhaps you're faced with 1 or 2 difficult comments that don't even necessarily relate to your video. Well,
you've seen some of the comments.
I've seen some of the comments.
Last night,
and I did tell you, when I wrote them, I'd had a few drinks. But seriously, I'll say this right now. I mean, I've been with Yelle for already a couple of days. We sort of interact via phone, and we've done lots of collaborations. Absolute stellar, gold, number one bonsai chap.
If you see comments of him on my channel or me on his channel, they might come across as a little bit short, but that is the sort of humor that we both share.
What, rude? You are. He is rude, you know that.
No, I'd call it cynical.
Oh,
you just don't understand it.
I don't. It's about brain space. He's actually more intelligent than me as well, and because I've got less hair, all my intelligence is seeped out of the top of my head, whereas Yelle's got a good full set of hair.
Yeah, no arguments for me here.
Now, I heard that you are actually particularly fond of fish. Certainly, what is your favourite fish meal? What is it that you like to cook up? No. That's a private joke, but have you got a favourite fish dish?
Not really.
You like fish
I like the fish medium rare from beef.
Okay, with a nice peppercorn sauce.
Exactly.
Okay. What would you do with this? First of all, what is it?
This is a pine. It's a white pine. It's a Japanese white pine. I think it's going to be grafted onto a black pine. And I'm not making this up, right? It has a label. Pinus parviflora negisi. And you can see they can grow really, really strong. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But what are you planning on doing with it? You asked me what I would do with it?
Yeah. Oh, hello. I don't know about you, but I've got to go to work. I've finished my breakfast. Yep. I know. There's still more to see of Yelle. There's still more to see, certainly, from Heron's Bonsai and Peter Chan. And I think we've got a few more questions that still have to be asked. But you know what? You can't stay here all day. You've got to earn a living. But I tell you what, it's going to be worth coming back. Because not only are we going to find out all about Peter Chan, we're also going to get the opportunity to find out how Yelle absolutely transforms my Itoyagawa root on rock. Actually, you won't see that till the next episode. So that's definitely something worth starring. And to make sure you don't miss it, we all know how it goes. Ding ding, hit the bell notifications. And also, you might just find out why I've got a glass of red stuff and a glass of white stuff. And that's all down to Agatha.
Yeah, exactly. So I give you one. So we'll make a nice cut for you. And you enjoy it.
But again, you probably won't see that till the second part of Bonsai for Breakfast, which is actually going to be at dinner time on Saturday. So, all I can say to you is if you've enjoyed this, massive big like, thumbs up. If you think anyone else might love hearing about Corin from Greenwoods and see what Yelle and I were up to in those early days of our visit, then make sure to subscribe, make sure to share this. But apart from that, this story is only half told. We have got tons of video stuff from Yelle and myself and Peter Chan. Well, look, there's loads more. You won't believe it. Meanwhile, you go back to work and I am going to continue to read my Bonsai Masterclass, the definitive chapter by Peter Chan. Signed to Xavier, your friend. I don't know why I had to look back at it. It was only going to be one person. It was either going to be Yelle or Peter Chan. Herons, 13th of September 2024. Do you know what? Fantastic visit. You just don't want to miss seeing some of those highlights. But from me, Xavier, at the Bonsai Retreat, and Yelle, who's busy eating somewhere, we'll say cheers for now. See you on the next episode. Cheers.
That's a 1.5.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Bye. Morning.